Imagine a small, unspoiled island in the Mediterranean, where the salty winds dance with the olive trees and the golden morning sun glistens on the sandy shores. This island, Corsica, was home to an ordinary but ambitious family. In one of these homes, on August 15, 1769, a boy was born who would later become immortal in history, Napoleon Bonaparte. From the very beginning, his difference from others was evident. Short, lean, with a distinctive accent, his mind was intensely active and curious. His parents, Carlo and Letizia, two strong-willed individuals, recognized this difference from the start. They knew this boy was destined to be exceptional, but even they could not predict how he would reshape the course of European history. From the age of 5, Napoleon developed a love for reading. Books, history, and stories of bravery became as essential to him as food and water. Every tale of kings, emperors, and generals filled his mind with endless questions. Why did this king fall? What decision led to victory? What would I have done in his place? These questions ignited the first sparks of his strategic mind. But his childhood was far from easy. Corsica had recently been integrated into France, and political and economic pressures made life difficult for its people. Young Napoleon faced relative poverty and social discrimination. At the local school, children mocked him for his height and accent. Yet, instead of breaking him, these challenges strengthened his mind. Every taunt sharpened his calculation and resolve. At the age of 9, Napoleon entered a military school in Brienne. It was his first step into a larger world. A cold, austere school with rigid rules and harsh instructors who tolerated no mistakes. Napoleon learned that discipline, order, and precise analysis were the keys to success. He approached lessons not for grades, but to understand the real world. Mathematics, military history, and geography became tools to anticipate movements, and even used local intelligence to surprise his opponents. The Battle of the Pyramids became the campaign's highlight. With only about 6,000 troops, he faced an army 10 times larger. Victory was achieved with minimal losses, proving that terrain analysis, psychological warfare, and careful troop management could overcome overwhelming odds. Picture Napoleon standing on a ridge, sandstorm whipping around him, his army below, enemy forces ahead, and the sun setting in the background. In his hand, a map, issuing commands: move the right flank, artillery ready. Press the enemy's left. This scene captures the cinematic essence of his strategic genius: courage, foresight, and calculated leadership. During these campaigns, Napoleon encountered both allies and rivals. Some officers envied him while others became loyal friends. He learned that trust was limited and that every decision carried consequences, both in the field and politically. A moment of pure wow occurred at the Battle of the Pyramids. When the enemy executed an unexpected maneuver, Napoleon made a rapid, decisive move that not only saved his army but secured victory. This defining moment demonstrated that his mind, honed since childhood, was capable of extraordinary strategic insight. After his stunning victories in Italy and Egypt, Napoleon quickly became not only a legendary general, but also a powerful political figure. He understood that true power was not only gained on the battlefield but also through politics, law, and economic control. In 1799, Napoleon orchestrated a clever coup and became first consul of France. This move was a masterstroke of political strategy. He neutralized his internal enemies while laying the foundation for a centralized and strong government. One of his most enduring achievements was the creation of the Napoleonic Code. This set of laws defined justice, property rights, and individual freedoms. The Napoleonic Code influenced not only France but much of Europe, leaving a legal legacy that continues to inspire modern systems. Napoleon demonstrated that a military leader could use soft power, legal reforms, and public trust to consolidate an empire. He also had a profound understanding of economics. He established the Bank of France, reorganized the nation's finances, and stabilized the economy. He knew that no empire could last without a strong economic foundation. Administrative reforms and education were key priorities. Napoleon rebuilt France's administrative system, reorganized local governance, and improved education to train the next generation of leaders and officers. He recognized that the future of any nation depended on the capabilities of its people. Napoleon's political strategy extended to marriages and alliances. His marriage to Josephine, and later to the daughter of the Austrian emperor, were strategic moves to strengthen political ties and consolidate power. Despite his genius, challenges were constant. Internal enemies, jealousy, and political rivalries threatened him. He learned that trust was limited and that every political decision required careful calculation of risks and potential outcomes. Picture Napoleon in a grand palace office, signing the Napoleonic Code. Every law, financial order, and administrative reform he approves builds the foundation of an empire. He commands his ministers and officers with the same precision he once commanded troops on the battlefield. The real wow moment. Within 2 decades, Napoleon transformed a nation still reeling from revolution into a powerful, law-driven, and modern empire. This combination of military genius, analytical mind, legal reform, and political acumen is what made him a historical force. The mind that dominated the battlefield now shaped France and Europe itself. After consolidating internal power and establishing a law-based empire, Napoleon faced the greatest challenge of his life: dominating Europe. This era was a mix of extraordinary courage, precise analysis, and calculated risks that still provide lessons for leaders and strategists today. Napoleon waged numerous wars to unify Europe under his rule: Austerlitz, Jena, Wagram, and Waterloo. His astonishing tactics repeatedly defeated coalitions of enemies. His strategic mind focused not only on immediate maneuvers but also on anticipating enemy actions days in advance. At the Battle of Austerlitz in 1805, Napoleon commanded 70,000 troops against 90,000 combined Russian and Austrian soldiers. By exploiting terrain, identifying enemy weaknesses, and using strategic deception, he secured an unprecedented victory. Battle data from Austerlitz. Napoleon's forces, 70,000. Enemy forces, 90,000. Napoleon's casualties, approximate 9,000, 13%. Enemy casualties, approximate 36,000, 40%. Key tactic: concentrate attacks on weak points and create diversion on the other flank. However, every legend faces setbacks. At the Battle of Waterloo in 1815, Napoleon confronted Allied and British forces and suffered a harsh, instructive defeat. Bad weather, delayed reinforcements, and miscalculations in enemy movement led to his downfall. Waterloo showed that even the greatest strategists cannot always prevail. Yet the true lesson is that analysis, preparation, and crisis management must complement courage and risk-taking. Imagine Napoleon standing on a hill at Waterloo. Rain pouring, mud underfoot, soldiers exhausted, enemies stretching across the horizon. He sketches a plan in the dirt, issuing orders: move the right flank, artillery ready. Press the enemy's left. Timing falters, the enemy acts unpredictably, and defeat arrives. This bitter but instructive moment illustrates that even genius minds must contend with uncontrollable reality. The empire's risks extended beyond the battlefield. Every political and economic decision, treaty, and alliance carried high stakes. Napoleon knew that hasty decisions could threaten the empire's survival. Mismanaging allies could lead to collapse. Failing to anticipate new enemies could be fatal. Yet he always managed risks with data analysis, experience, and psychological insight. Even in defeats, he learned and prepared for the next challenge. A shocking moment occurred during the Russian campaign of 1812. Leading 600,000 troops into Russia, he faced extreme cold, shortages of resources, and scorched earth tactics. His army was nearly annihilated. This colossal failure proved that even extraordinary skill has limits and that the world is never fully predictable. Despite these setbacks, Napoleon returned to Europe, rebuilt his strategy, and taught the world timeless lessons about leadership, risk, and resilience. Imagine Napoleon living today, not only facing horses and cannons but also data, media, and the digital economy. The world is far more complex, yet his mind remains the same genius it was in history, a combination of precise analysis, risk-taking, and iron will. In the modern era, he would likely analyze human behavior and markets using artificial intelligence and big data, influence public opinion through media and social networks, consolidate power and wealth through digital economy strategies and financial instruments. Every move would be like a historical battle, but with modern tools: data analysis instead of artillery, social media instead of soldiers, financial strategy instead of marching armies. Imagine scenarios where Napoleon today moves global markets with a single tweet or media announcement, forces governments to change policies with a calculated economic strategy, wins public trust or manipulates it through a modern propaganda campaign. This shows that Napoleon's analytical and strategic mind could still reshape history in today's world. He would apply the same lessons learned from historical defeats like Waterloo and the Russian campaign. Every decision must be supported by complete data analysis and scenario planning. Failures and successes are both natural parts of leadership. Controlling allies, enemies, and public perception is crucial for success. Picture him in a sleek modern office, multiple large monitors displaying global maps, economic charts, and social media analytics. He studies trends, predicts outcomes, and decides the optimal move. Each decision mirrors his historical strategy but executed in the digital age. Napoleon today could shake the world with a single decisive move. One well-calculated action, an economic maneuver, a strategic alliance, or a viral media campaign could rewrite history. Imagine Napoleon living today, not only facing horses and cannons but also data, media, and the digital economy. The world is far more complex, yet his mind remains the same genius it was in history, a combination of precise analysis, risk-taking, and iron will. In the modern era, he would likely analyze human behavior and markets using artificial intelligence and big data, influence public opinion through media and social networks, consolidate power and wealth through digital economy strategies and financial instruments. Every move would be like a historical battle, but with modern tools: data analysis instead of artillery, social media instead of soldiers, financial strategy instead of marching armies. Imagine scenarios where Napoleon today moves global markets with a single tweet or media announcement, forces governments to change policies with a calculated economic strategy, wins public trust or manipulates it through a modern propaganda campaign. This shows that Napoleon's analytical and strategic mind could still reshape history in today's world. He would apply the same lessons learned from historical defeats like Waterloo and the Russian campaign. Every decision must be supported by complete data analysis and scenario planning. Failures and successes are both natural parts of leadership. Controlling allies, enemies, and public perception is crucial for success. Picture him in a sleek modern office, multiple large monitors displaying global maps, economic charts, and social media analytics. He studies trends, predicts outcomes, and decides the optimal move. Each decision mirrors his historical strategy but executed in the digital age. Napoleon today could shake the world with a single decisive move. One well-calculated action, an economic maneuver, a strategic alliance, or a viral media campaign could rewrite history. If Napoleon were alive today, would he succeed even more than in his own time? Or would the modern world finally challenge the limits of his genius? And does today's world have the capacity to confront a mind like his?